Welcome to World Cinema Recap. The film opens on Nicholas, a small child who is sick and who lives with his mother by the sea. A deceased boy with a red starfish on his stomach catches Nicholas' eye one day as he swims in the ocean. Nicholas carefully makes his way across the imposing black rocks that line the shore of his village to tell his mother about his find. Mom dives down and retrieves the starfish, but she reassures her son that there is no body. Nicholas's mother medicates him and feeds him slimy food for dinner every night. Inquiring about his health, Nicholas probes his mother for details. His mother explains that, as the boys of the island get older, their bodies undergo a series of changes that necessitate therapy. At night, the island's moms are spotted congregating in one spot. They are making their way to the beach. The other moms then congregate around the lifeless body Nicholas' mother has returned with. Nicholas enjoys his starfish all over again the next day. When another youngster teases him about his fear of it, he snaps and strikes the other kid. Later, he uses a knife to sever a limb off the starfish. His mother has taken him to the hospital after his outburst so that he can be closely monitored. Nicholas receives an intravenous injection of a yellow fluid at the hospital. After that, he is instructed to spend the night in the hospital. The story picks up with Nicholas being admitted to a ward for young patients after he has the same procedure. They start to wonder what kind of illness it is that they're experiencing. The scene takes place late at night, and it has nurses watching recordings of cesarean procedures. The next day, Nicholas goes home from the hospital. To him, it seems like his mom and the nurses have been hiding something from him. He goes to his buddy Victor's place, and they sneak out in the middle of the night to watch the moms at work. Victor, however, becomes frightened en route, and he quickly returns home. Nicholas keeps moving forward to learn the truth. When he finally gets there, he is taken aback by what he discovers. He discovers the women sprawled out in the mud, completely undressed, passing an object from one another. In a flash, he's back at his house. A few hours later, at home, he watches his mother as she takes a shower to remove the mud from her hair and clothes. He sees what could be suckers on her back and comments on it. Once back at the clinic, an ultrasound is performed on Nicholas. They detect the fetus's heartbeat, much to his mother's apparent delight. After that, Nicholas is given a room to spend the night in while he awaits his final operation. There he becomes friends with the other kids and meets his best friend, Victor. Surgery on Victor is scheduled for later that evening. A creature is removed from his stomach and placed in a jar at the end of the procedure. Sadly, Victor does not survive the procedure. Nicholas wakes up and approaches the nurse in the morning to inquire about Victor. The nurse tells Nicholas a falsehood that Victor is making a full recovery. In the hospital, a nurse announces that Victor has sent them a conch shell. When Nicholas' mother visits, she always brings him a meal. But he won't eat anything she prepares for him. He claims she isn't his mom when she gets agitated and starts looking through his sketchbook. They drug him and take his sketchbook. Stella, one of the nurses, takes a fancy to Nicholas, and the two become fast friends while he is in the hospital. Stella often shares her coloring books and colors with Nicholas. The drawings of Nicholas range from the macabre, a dead child and starfish, to the mundane, a bicycle, a car, a building, and a giraffe. Stella then reveals her secret by showing Nicholas a folder containing photos of ladies wearing suckers, including a little girl. Later that evening, she leads him to the shore and demonstrates the suckers on her back by letting him touch them. But after spending too much time underwater, Nicholas loses consciousness. Stella begins performing CPR on him instantly. Nicholas returns to the medical center. Late at night, he secretly visits one of the boys in another room. When Nicholas comes close, the kid puts Nicholas's palm on his stomach and Nicholas can feel something moving inside of him. Nicholas is made to press on his stomach, which causes him to throw up. Fearful, Nicholas escapes to another room. One of the boys is floating in a tank in that room. A nurse soon catches up with him. And now he's being taken in for the last operation. Nicholas recovers after surgery and wakes up in a tank. He looks around the tank and sees what appear to be 2 infants restrained alongside him. As a result of his fright, he passes out suddenly. When Nicholas comes to, he and Stella are back where they started, on the beach. Once again they dive in, but this time she swims beside him with her mouth pressed to his so he may take a breath while submerged. She forces him to the surface, and the 2 of them swim to a nearby rowboat. Stella makes sure Nicholas drinks some clean water before disappearing back into the water, presumably to return to the island. Nicholas decides to stay aboard the boat, and by the time night falls, he's almost at the port of a major city. And that's the film's final scene. Let's get into the details now. The plot centers on a coastal setting, where we observe a race of humanoid beings going about their daily lives. As you can see, there are just teenagers and grown women here. There are no minor women or grown men. Later in the film, we see that the adult females are actually aquatic humans that live in water and breathe through gills. The starfishes metamorphoses into these humanoid beings. Since there are no mature males in this species, all reproduction is asexual. It appears that the only way to have children is to artificially create a zygote and then implant it into the wombs of young males. These boys' bodies appear to be able to support the fetus up until a certain time. The fetuses then have to be delivered surgically and brought to term in the outside world. If the boy's body is healthy enough, he may be placed in a tank where the fetus develops in the water while still attached to his body. In the film, we witness Nicholas take his prescription regularly. This will help get his body ready to house the developing fetus. At the appropriate time, he will be admitted and the zygote will be injected. The same treatment is being meted out to other guys on the island. It's safe to believe that these young men are regularly kidnapped from urban areas and brought to the coast. Nicholas's drawings in the film range from a dead child and starfish to a bicycle, a car, a building, and a giraffe. Since he can't buy them in the town, Nicholas is recreating them from memory. This points to the conclusion that he was taken there as an infant. But as they become older, they forget more and more about their origins. The film opens with Nicholas discovering a body. He probably perished trying to get away, and the women just didn't want to admit it. In another scene, the women are shown lying in the dirt, twisting and turning with one another while passing an object back and forth. This is akin to a ceremony associated with giving birth. Having a kid causes the women to go into a maternal rage, during which they create zygotes, which are then collected and used to impregnate guys by injection. The humanoids are also seen in another scene, this time watching a video of a cesarean section. In this way, they have been learning how to safely remove fetuses by cutting their abdomens. It seems that most of the time the humanoids botch the cesarean section, murdering the host mother's baby in the process. This is evidently the case with Victor, who passes away shortly after surgery. Sometimes, however, they get a good enough cut to move the host into the incubator. Nicholas, who makes it through the procedure unscathed, experiences this. The fetuses develop rapidly once they're inside, and the host can still live long enough to be implanted with another zygote. Stella, who cares deeply about Nicholas, makes the decision to free him from his plight at the film's conclusion. She secretly leads Nicholas to a boat. This is apparently the method humanoids use to get to human towns and steal children. As the sun sets, Nicholas can make out the lights of a human city on the horizon. It's safe to suppose he'll be returned to his biological parents after being rescued. And that, dear reader, is how I interpret the film. Turn on channel notifications, like this video, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you.